Hello everybody and welcome back here at Adobe Live and welcome back with How To. I'm so excited as usual to be here in the wonderful community at Adobe Live, and today we are on part 1 of a brand new episode of How To. We're going to be learning how to design a digital portfolio together, so expect a lot of exciting feature, and because of many of you requested it, we will be diving in InDesign. But we're also not only going to learn how to make a portfolio, we're going to create an interactive one that you will be able to share on your social media and just as a link in your emails. So it's just ready for you to showcase your best work anytime, anywhere. So welcome everybody here in the chat. I can see my lovely fellow host and friend Val in the chat. Val, are you here? Also during this stream, she just finished a brand new episode of Graphic Glow Up. So make sure to go and check them out. They are really, really fun. I always enjoy listening and watching to them. And Val, I'm asking because if you're there, you know what the keyword is going to be. It starts with a P. I'm just saying, Paul, me and Abudaval enjoy doing this lovely poll every day. But let's get to say welcome to everybody that is here with us in the chat. If you're watching from YouTube, come and join on behance.net/live. That's the place where you can come and say hi to me during this live and of course ask your questions. As I'm never tired to repeat, Adobe Live is a safe space for us to learn together. I learned so much from you. I hope that you learn while having fun with me during this hour together. And I can see RB in the chat. What's up, RB? Nice to see you. Becca, Andreas. Hi, Don Marie. Nice to see you. Laura, lovely to see you. So many familiar. Umacron, clever, beautiful. Becca, lovely new faces and some familiar faces as well. As usual, let me know where you're watching from. How are you doing? What are you doing right now? Here is 9 p.m. I am in Manchester, UK. And of course, before we get started with InDesign, I wanted to remind everybody that also we have daily creative challenges running on so many different apps: Illustrator, Photoshop, XD. There's so much fun going on here during the day at Adobe Live. So make sure to stay tuned in 9 a.m., 11:30 a.m. weekdays and 2 a.m. Pacific as well. You will be able to sharpen your skills and learn more techniques with the wonderful app and with the wonderful challenges. But let's get started. I'm going to jump right into my screen to start to talk a little bit more about what all this fuss about digital portfolio is all about. Let me know in the chat again if you have any questions. I look forward to help you out because this is the place where you can not only learn new skills and new techniques, but you can also, be here to get an inspiration. Those streams are pretty much there for you, no matter if you're a beginner, in order to, again, get started by using the apps, but also if you are an intermediate user or a professional, that can be inspiring ways of starting a new personal project and of course connect with a beautiful community here at Adobe Live. Fantastic. I can see Odari in the chat. Another big up and thank you to Odari for his portrait. Go and check out his Instagram to see his lovely art. And maybe let's start by by creating the document. Let's do one step at a time. I have a little artist spotlight. We're going to dive into Behance. And that's another good way. I keep my eyes peeled on Behance and on your profile. So maybe creating a digital portfolio will be the opportunity to really showcase your work and getting noticed also on Behance. Fantastic. So Umacron say, haven't Steve yet today? Correct. We haven't seen Steve yet. Well, Steve, we miss you. We think about you. I'm going to say ciao, hopefully, if you watch the replay. Perfect. So let's get started. Oh, Laura's saying, I love these. You're having a little bit of a look at my at my little projects here. But let's get started with a brand new file. And as you can see, once I open InDesign and I click on brand new file, I have right away the project opening up. Right, if that doesn't happen to you, it's because the default option is to have the preview button unticked. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so you can really see what I'm talking about. Once you open the new document panel, you will have the opportunity to choose if or not watch the preview once you start to create a file. So of course, if I untick the preview now, because we already started to create a document, is there, but let me go ahead and close it and start from scratch. So if I go to my home page and select new file, you will see that the new document window and new document panel will pop up and just float inside the home page. So I just want to go back just to make sure that we all see the same thing. So that will be the default look of your app. Fantastic. So let me go ahead and let's move forward. So we are creating for web. This is a digital interactive portfolio. If you're looking to create a portfolio that you want to print, make sure to go ahead and select the intent to print. You can then follow along and apply some of the techniques that we're going to be sharing in terms of layouts and management of fonts and font style in order to work in a more organized way using the Creative Cloud libraries as well. But make sure to go ahead and select print if you wish to do so. If you want to follow along and create that digital interactive version, go ahead and select the web tab to make sure that we start to change, and you will see our preset details. We start the details of our project will already start to change in order to be tailored towards a digital production. So always remember, one of the things that I have in my checklist when I create a project, perhaps the very first tick that I have there is a fit for purpose. So you want to make sure that you land the right project on the right channel, and of course that you create with having that channel and that output in mind. So we want to make sure that we select the purpose that is fit for our final work. Let's go ahead and select also the size. Usually when I start and produce any asset that is for web, I click on view all presets, and you will see that we have different options of resolutions here. My favorite resolution is 1920 by 1080, which is the standard high definition. All you have to do here is perhaps just use the width and height panel if you want in order to input that 1920 by 1080, but let's see, let's put it this way, 1920 and 1080, and look what happens here. The orientation also let me know right away, hey, you're going to be working on a portrait mode. That's not what we want. It was correct the first time around when I say it. So it's 1920 width by 1080 height, and all we have to do is to click on landscape, and you will see that automatically InDesign will change our orientation. And of course that's even more visible. Now I'm going to go ahead and click that preview so you can see in action how useful it is to work with a preview. So you will see right away that the orientation of the project changes from landscape to portrait. Of course, the majority of screens, I will say 90% of screens are landscape. So 1920 by 1080 is a landscape high definition resolution. Daniela from Brazil. Where about in Brazil? So exciting. Welcome, welcome everybody. Barbara said it's afternoon here, but it's fun with people from everywhere. Isn't that super cool? I love how international this community is. So of course, let me know where you're watching from. RB, where are you watching from? Amy's watching from California. Fantastic, lovely to see you here. Odari, where are you watching from? Let me know in the chat, and I'm always very excited to discover all these beautiful places where you guys are from. And I'm also looking for some holiday tips, so maybe if I spot some good location, I will be asking some questions to the chat. But let's keep going here. So we have started to set up our document, and another thing that is important to do is to name it. I'm going to call this project Digital Portfolio. And then, I'm going to go ahead and start to adjust more settings. So we see also that we have margins and columns. I start by creating two columns, which it will split automatically the page into different columns. You can see happening live and real time as we create. And then we start by adding margin. So I try to give quite a lot of margin to frame the content. And again, I use the word frame because the margin, you will see, I'm going to show you here, they are delimited by this purple line. So this black line is the one that defines the edge of the document. So that's the very end of our page. And then we have the purple line, which is there just to delimit the area that is a safe space. That's really important when we create a document for print, in order to make sure that our text doesn't get chopped. And I was just looking for a piece of paper here. I'm going to show you this little napkin where I do all my sketches in my kitchen. So you want to make sure that your text doesn't go over the printed page. But when you're working for, print also, for web, you also want to make sure that the text stays within the margin. But we can also use the margin to create a frame, and maybe we can use some color, we'll see, in order to keep the content together and to really focus our attention towards the center of a page. Right, so let's go ahead and set a margin to 100 pixels. You can go ahead and change those margin at any time. You will see that we have the link icon selected, so anytime that I change any of those settings, they will automatically update throughout. In this case, I'm not looking to have facing pages. I'm going to just be using our single pages, just because I think that that's a little bit more the workflow of just looking at things for screen in one page at a time, because we're already designing something that is a full screen document. So we have Charlotte, North Carolina in the chat. Bejoyce from Oman. Eugene from Delaware. Exciting. Bex watching from Iowa. Beautiful. Welcome from everywhere here at Adobe Live. And let's keep going. So we have set our margins. We have set our columns. I'm going to also set the space between the two columns, which is called gutter, to 100, and that will just give me almost 2 pages internally in our document, just like so. So I'm just going to go ahead and type 100 pixel, which is the unit that I'm going to be using for this document, and I'm going to start to keep going here. Fantastic. So go ahead and click on create when you're ready to go. Maybe one more thing is pages. I'm just going to go ahead and start with 4 pages. We have today and tomorrow. I don't aim to finish today. We'll see how far we go. We're going to be publishing this document as well. So there is so much wonderful work that we're going to be doing together. And here we are. So we started here. We have our document ready to go. We have also the 3 pages. If you zoom out, you'll be able to see them. Now, one question that it might seem simple, but I do have recurring when I show streams in InDesign. What happens if you're watching this stream and my page doesn't look like yours? Well, probably all you have is the view mode activated into a different setting. So here is the normal mode that will allow you to see everything that goes on, included the margin and all the invisible and not visible settings that you have in the page. And if you press the letter W on your keyboard, you will be able to switch between the normal mode and the preview mode. So you will be able to see the different modes that are available there in order to see the final design. Also, you can see different way of looking at your screen by setting the view, and here with a preview you can change the different way in which you preview your document. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I also save my document. That's a very important step. Once we created and we named it, we also want to save it in our machine. So I'm going to select my desktop and make sure that I click on save, so I know that all the work that I'm going to be doing here will be backed up as I go. Rob is saying hello from Canada. Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here from Canada. So we have pretty much half of the world, of the world already represented here in the chat, which is super cool. Again, feel free to ask me questions as we go. I will keep jumping back and forth in the chat. But yeah, if I work and if for whatever reason don't see your comment right away, feel free to place it again in the chat, and I'll make sure to be able to follow along with you while I work, and of course pick up as many questions as possible. Fantastic. So let's start to move on. So we have our pages now and they all look the same. And in order to create that consistency, to make sure that our document looks, you know, and everything looks like as is part of the same document. So everything is consistent and there is that really almost branding coming along while we create our project, in order to showcase a repetition that makes our work look like it's part of the same artist of the same project. What we're going to do is to head to our pages. And you will see that in the pages, we will have the parent page that will allow us to create settings. So the parent page works as a background that will then be able to reuse and repeat on different pages. Now, if you do not see the pages panel in your workspace, you can find that and all many different panels that you can use, and I will mention under the window menu. So here under window, you'll be able to select pages and the pages panel will pop up. And in fact, let's dive in real quick into the workspace. I think that's actually very useful, especially when creating an interactive digital document. I'm going to go ahead here at the workspace switcher. You're probably, if you just started with InDesign, will say essential. So I'm going to go ahead and reset essential to make sure that we're really starting from the same perspective. So we're all looking together and working together, starting from the same screen. So let's go ahead and from essential, what I tend to do here in order to create a panel, a workspace that has as many panels relevant for my project so I can work fast and just concentrate on my creation, is to click on the down pointing arrow and then select one of the presets that are already as close as possible to the creation that I'm going to be producing here in InDesign. So a book, of course, will have more panels related to book layout, digital publishing, interactive for PDF, printing, typography, and so on. So I'm going to start by selecting interactive for PDF, as I'm really after these interactive features that we can share and navigate online. And as you can see, once I do so, maybe you want to go ahead and click also to reset interactive for PDF, so you're sure that all the panels that are part of the presets are there. And I'm actually going to jump on the other side of the screen. I'm just going to move that way real quick so you can see the panels behind me that we're going to be appearing. Here we are. So perfect. So as you can see here, we have different panels. I'm not going to be using all of them. Again, this is absolutely up to you. I'm just sharing with you my workflow. Let me know if you have a different workflow in the way that you use the panels. And by the way, let me know in the chat, do you tend to change workspace or you usually work with essential? I'm really curious about that because I change it all the time, so I don't know if it's just my preference, but you will see how useful it is when we start to get into things like buttons, forms, hyperlinks, and of course the preview. So what I'm going to be doing here is to kind of delete the things that I don't need. So I know that I'm not going to be using gradient and I'm not going to be using bookmark, and I'm going to start and split the workspace. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so we can really appreciate that into a different sort of block of content. So here I'm going to select pages because I know that I'm going to have my pages here, and also layer and page transition. That's more like the structure of my document. And then I have links, and I'm going to add here the CC libraries, and I know that that's the part of assets that I'm going to bring in. So links is all about not to confuse with hyperlinks. Links is related to the panel that will show us the images that we can bring into our document and place into our document. And then we have color, stroke, and swatches, which I'm going to leave there, that are part of the properties and the settings that we can use in order to edit elements of the page. And then here, buttons and form, hyperlinks, and media, which I'm going to bring together because those are part of the interactive elements. But of course, some of the most useful panels are missing, so we can also add them. So I'm going to go ahead and select properties and add it here inside the panel. And also I know that I'm going to use text. So I'm going to go ahead under style and bring our paragraph and character style. So those are some of the most useful panels that we're going to be using. And then one of the coolest panels that I really enjoy is under interactive. It's called EPUB Interactivity Preview. This panel will allow us to preview all the interactive elements that we're going to be adding to our design, just without leaving InDesign. So we can do everything and we can test our document, making sure that everything looks sharp. Let me see in the chat. Andre, really nice to that you're showing us use InDesign. Yes, I had many requests, so I read the chat. If you have any requests for future episode of how to, let me know. I'm always here reading the chat and listening to your feedback. So it's really, really exciting. Rob is saying, always customize my workspace, otherwise I'm lost. Completely agree. Hopefully you will enjoy this this way of customizing the workspace. So here I'm going to add the productivity interactive preview, the interactive preview to the interactive elements over here. And for now, I think it's okay. I don't remember. I think it's perhaps everything that I need here on top of my head is there. You can always add more panels, but once you're kind of set in the sort of panel that you're going to be using and you're happy with them, all you're left to do is to click here under that little arrow and make sure that you create a new workspace. So I'm going to call this new interactive, or you can use your name, you can call it whatever way you want. And if it's a specific project, maybe a recurring project, you can just create a personalized workspace for that specific project. So I'm going to call this one new interactive and then click on OK. And see here, you can lock not only the menu customization, so actually the panels and the tools that you have selected, but also their location. And that's so useful when work gets messy. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK, and I'm going to show you how that works. So once I go ahead and let's say I'm going to start working, so what I usually do, I start to bring my panels together and then I expand it, and then, you know, sometimes I just close them because they're in the way. Everything starts to get a bit messy and things just are all over the place. Well, now it's nice and easy because the page is white, but then it gets really confusing when we have some text. Not a worry, because you can always click on the down pointing arrow and click on reset, whatever is the name of the workspace that you have created, and boom, everything gets back nice and organized, and we are just ready to keep focusing on working together. Right, so now everyone should have the same, now we're together working here, hopefully with the same screen, with the same workspace. I was just having a giggle, and RB, I missed you in the chat. Nice to see you. I love to see our Adobe community, our Adobe family here at Adobe Live. It's so nice to hang out with you guys. I always have so much fun. Perfect. So let's keep going. I'm going to go ahead and start by creating our parent. So as I said, the parent page area is under the pages panel, what allows us to create a background. So I'm going to go ahead here and double click on the parent page in order to access the parent. So you will see how it works in just a second. All I'm going to do is to click on the letter T on my keyboard, or simply select the type tool from the toolbar. And by the way, let me know in the chat how many InDesign user we have. If you're just starting with InDesign, if you're looking to use InDesign more, let me know in the chat. I want to see how many beginner, or if you're a beginner, or if you're already intermediate or advanced, whatever you define yourself, or if you use InDesign or not. So let me know in the chat. I really want to know how many already using InDesign, or if you're just starting, which is completely fine. So again, I'm going to select the type tool, and then I'm going to click and drag in order to create a text box. And I'm going to zoom in so we can all see what I'm doing here. I'm not going to be right now working with font, because that's, I'm going to use perhaps in about 10 minutes sometimes, in which we're just going to focusing on font. We're going to have a look at Adobe Font. And I'm going to go ahead and start to write what this portfolio is about. So I'm going to create a photography portfolio today. So I'm just going to go ahead and write photography. I feel like a little bit like a T-Rex. I got my keyboard just right in front of me. I don't know if you see me typing. I'm just right there. So here it is, portfolio. Sorry, I'm going to be slower than usual writing. Here it is. So here it is. We have our photography portfolio. And then once we, you know, of course, that can be your design portfolio, studio portfolio. You can put the name of your studio, whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and start to add this text right on top of the page. So on the right side of the page. Top right corner. And what I'm going to do here is to just create a text box that is quite nice and big. And at the moment, I'm not going to worry about too much about it, because again, I'm not sure, and I'm not working on fonts yet. We can always go back and edit them, and I'm going to show you how beautiful it is, the power of working with paragraph styles and character styles, and also the real use of updating the styles and the parent page together. It's going to make your workflow so much faster. So let's go ahead and add another important element of our layout, which is the page number. So I'm going to go here and head under the type menu, and then select insert special character. And under markers, you'll be able to select the current page number. Again, big zoom in to this amazing tool that will allow you to select the actual page number. So look what happens. Once you click on it, the letter A will pop up. That is not what you're going to be seeing in your document. That's just a placeholder that tell you instead of the A, you're actually going to have the real page number showing up on every different page. That's so amazing. And another thing that I'm going to be here is add a tab. Now, if you do not have your characters showing, the way of making them pop up, and again, I'm going to zoom in so you can actually see them. The hidden characters are, here in blue. So we have the tab here and the end of the paragraph at the end. And of course, the little dot is the space. So if you don't see them, the way to make them show up is to use the Option Command or Alt Control if you are using a Windows machine, Option Command if you are on a Mac, in order to make them appear or disappear, and of course with the letter I. So it's Option Command I or Alt Control I, depending if you're working on Windows or Mac. And the tab is super cool because what allows you to do is to make sure that you have an really organized spacing in between your images, and it's really cool the way that works. So all I've done is I used the shortcut Shift Command or Shift Control T in order to make sure that we have the tabs panel popping up, and you can use this little magnet with your text box selected to make sure that this ruler and this panel is going to go and sit exactly on top of your text. And then what I'm going to do here is to select the tab that I've just added and use this little arrow in order to show where I want the tab to match my text. So this is going to give us the end, of course, of the settings. So in this case, just want to make sure that here it is. Let me go ahead and show you. It's just right there at the end of our margin. And in order to do so, again, use the little magnet and you will see that it will position exactly the ruler on top of your page. So you actually see what you're doing here. And if you see, if I move this arrow, it's going to actually set the margin of our tab. So whatever text goes outside the tab is actually going to position it in a specific place. And that's so useful when we work with something like menus, or when you have a form to create, or when you have any elements that requires an organization. So an organization information. I'm a bit lost with the spacing. As you can see, I had everything zoomed in. I didn't know what I was doing anymore. Here we are. We're back here looking at the pages. So I'm going to go ahead and set my tab to the margin, and here it is. And once we're done, I'm going to go ahead and close the tab panel. We don't need it anymore, and press Command S to save the changes that we've created, and click back on our pages to see that now in action. So if we click on page number 1, you'll see that it will display the number 1, and again, page number 2, page number 3, 4, and so on. But I know that our page number 1 is actually going to be a cover. So I do not want to have that specific assets applied. So first of all, we can see that the A parent is that we have modified and just created is applied to our pages because we have the little letter A that let us know that the parent is applied. And as I said, the parent works as a background that is gonna allow us to have consistency while designing. In fact, if I go ahead and select the parent, maybe that's gonna be a little bit more noticeable if I just place a color, just to give you an idea of what we're doing here. If I create a rectangle, just a whatever shape, and just place it inside our parent, you will see that automatically will showcase, and every change that you make will show and will appear live inside the pages. Again, the background, the parent works as a background that you can apply to as many pages you want in order to create that consistency. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this rectangle. So in order to make sure that our first page where we're going to create our cover doesn't have the parent applied, we can select the none, the parent that says none, where none parent is applied, and drag it in. So you will see that once we go back and double click on the page, on the little thumbnail preview, we jump right into the page. So we do not have the parent, we do not have the text or the page number there. And when we select page number 2, we will have our text and our page number 2. Now, what happened if this is going to actually be our page number 1, because the cover really doesn't count? How do we make this page number 1 start from page number 2? Right, so all you have to do is to select the right click on the actual page, and then you can have the numbering and section options. So you can start page numbering and number 1, and you can start a new section from this page number 2 and click on OK, and you will see that automatically the page number will change. First of all, very clearly inside our page preview, you will see the thumbnail named and also are there accordingly with the other with the other pages. So we have here our little number 1 and then again 1. So we have a new section. We have page number 1, which is the cover, which doesn't have any parent applied and doesn't have any number. And then we have page, which is theoretically page number 2, which is our first page, that will be actually be numbered as our first page, which is what we wanted. That's so useful also when you maybe you're writing or creating a layout for books, so you can change section per chapter and maybe start a different page. Or even if you're creating a presentation, or even if you're creating a portfolio, maybe you have 3 projects in photography, 3 projects in graphic design, so you can have an index that reflects each single one of your sections. Rob say, moving from masters to calling it parent kind of freaked me out. I don't know why. Well, Rob, that's a wonderful language change that I think InDesign has implemented since Adobe Max. And by the way, if you want to learn more about these wonderful new features, there is a video on Adobe Live or on YouTube. I think on YouTube, Adobe Creative Cloud YouTube channel, you will be able, a little surprise there coming for you, already showed up. There is a little, let me just go ahead into, make sure that I select the right page here. So InDesign, so I can show you. So there is a video with a new feature of this year, but also if you want to learn more about the different features that come out, the best way of doing so is to head on the main Adobe website. So all you have to do is perhaps just type InDesign inside your browser of choice, and then here the InDesign, and then look at the Adobe website, and from here select features and then what's new. And every sort of change that you notice inside the app is here updated. So this is the October 2021 release, App and the Max, formerly known InDesign 2022, and we have this inclusive terminology that Rob has spotted right away. And that's, you know, master page change to parent is one of those beautiful changes that happen. And we have a scalable user interface, Adobe Capture that we're going to be using today. I'm so excited, although time is going so fast, it's unbelievable. But let's head back to our text. So we have the basics organized in terms of structures. Another thing that we can use while we create with our parent are grids. So let's get this, I usually call like this boring work, just because, you know, there's no colors yet coming up, there are no images, so the fun stuff has to come yet. But having this organization will help you, because once you do it, all you have to do it once, and then it's pretty much ready for you throughout the document. So let's jump back into our A parent, and then from here you can head under layout and create guides. I'm going to start to split my document in order to see how we can organize our content in a more appealing way. So I'm going to go ahead and start by creating 6 rows, and if you do not see them happening live and appearing while you create it, you can always make sure that you select preview in order to make sure that they appear, and make sure that also the guides fit to margin, so the content will be distributed within the margin. If you want to set it to page, absolutely up to you. Again, I will use the margin to frame the content, so that's definitely the place where I want to start. And then with the column, I always have a contrast. I always do like an even number and an odd number. So maybe I can do 6, and then I double it, so that will be 12, and I add and I move into an odd number, so it's 13. So I'll do 6 and 13, and then the gutter here, because we're working on web, you really want to give that space. So the gutter is the space that sits between the columns or the rows. So I just give it a nice gutter of 35 pixels. So we'll ensure like a little bit of breathing space in between content, and we really use these grids to have the content sitting on them, and they will allow us a consistent repetition when spacing as well. Fantastic. Once you're done, click on OK. You can also create more parents if you want to create different layout. I'm just going to go ahead and create a new one. Maybe just go ahead and duplicate parent number 1 if you want. And I'm just going to go ahead and this parent delete the text, or maybe again I'm just going to add a box just to show you how it works real quick over here. So if I had this green box, it doesn't appear anywhere because the parent B is not applied yet. But if we want to use this other special background, all you have to do is to click and drag wherever you want, and you will see that whatever page that you have selected it. So here we have the parent B applied, and here we have the parent A. So it will be consistent. And again, if you want to change it. You can always drag and drop the parent that you would like to use. Fantastic. So we have our grid ready. We have our cover page ready. We have a little bit of text just so we know how the parents work. We're going to use them to add our navigation in just a second. Before we do so, though, it's time to introduce our content. And here I'm going to do a little spotlight. So let's see if there is any question in the chat before I'm going to read a bit more. Daniela saying, mind blown. So excited. Nice to see you. Biola, lovely to see you here. I'm so excited. Let's see if there is anybody that replied to my question in terms of being a proficient or beginner. Annika is saying, save. Yes, absolutely. Daniela is saying, I had some little moments using it on work, but it was a long time ago, so I'm basically a beginner. Fantastic. And let me know if you want to repeat anything. We're here to learn together. Annika is saying, I think Kladi has links for courses for both Illustrator and InDesign on our website. Yes. So I do, there are, actually, let me go and I'm gonna give someone else a shout out in a second. But before we do that, I'm just gonna move in real quick into my website. If you head to iamkladi.com and then courses, you will find a lot of content on Illustrator and InDesign, and also I have a LinkedIn course. So there is a LinkedIn learning course on InDesign. And there is, I cover a little bit of everything about InDesign. So make sure to go ahead and check it out if you're looking to learn more. You can just head on LinkedIn Learning, or just from my website, you'll be able to access it real quick. And of course, there is so much more in terms of, Adobe Live and in InDesign here available for you to watch. Thank you so much, Annika, for the shout out. But now time to give another shout out, because I was looking at images to use, and I found on Unsplash these gorgeous images that really caught my attention. And there's some photo created by a fellow Behance creative creator, creative director, product designer, photographer, Prince Akachi. Prince, I really hope that I pronounce your name correctly. Sorry if I'm butchering it. That might be my Italian accent in action. Prince is based in Lagos, Nigeria. So he has a lot of project views. So really, really excited. I go ahead and check him out. There's so much wonderful work in here. I have used some of this photo that I found available. And also thank you so much for sharing your photos on Unsplash so we could use them. And I was really, really happy to give you a shout out, especially when I found out that you were here on Behance. So go ahead and give a follow to Prince, and there is also his Instagram page, so you can go and check him out and look at his gorgeous photo that we're going to be using today for our project. So here it is. Prince Akachi is a Prince Noel Works on Behance. Here it is. I'm just going to zoom it in so you can go ahead and have a look. Val, feel free to place it in the chat if you want, so everybody can go and give Prince a follow. And again, as I said, make sure to keep that portfolios on Behance updated, and hopefully you'll be able to share the portfolio that we create together, because I do browse a lot and have a look at everybody's work around there, and that's also a great opportunity to get hired. So make sure to go ahead and share your work on Behance. And again, just a quick wrap up, because we're already off time. I can't believe it. If you're watching from YouTube, come over on behance.net/live. That's where we're all hanging out during the live, where we have questions. I can see the chat super active, everybody chatting and talking. We have some Marie intermediate looking to use more and learn more. Fantastic. Sherry saying new to InDesign a little bit, but still perfect. Odari saying, I've never used it before. Well, hopefully you'll find it inspiring and useful to showcase. You can create a beautiful portfolio with your wonderful art. Anika say hello, nice to see you. Bliss coming in, pop it out, nice to see you. Fantastic. Perfect. It looks everybody is doing all right and just saying hello and having a chat. Aaron is saying invoices are quick and easy with page numbering. Correct. Yes, you can use the page numbering to create invoices. You can use it for really everything that you want. You can apply it to your workflow. Perfect. So let's go back to InDesign, and it's time to bring in our assets. Before doing so, I'm going to jump into my libraries, and from here I'm going to click and drag the corner of the bounding box in order to create a brand new library. So you already see here a preview. I was testing these gorgeous photos, but I'm going to show you how to create a brand new library from scratch. So once you open the libraries, I have a ton of libraries, so you know that I'm actually talking the talk and doing the work as well, because I really use them. They are incredible. Libraries allow you to organize, share, and keep your content together, so you can manage your file and do so much here with these wonderful libraries. And most importantly, you can share with your colleagues, with your coworker, and with your client, making sure that all your content stays there and is available for everybody, so you can work consistently. So I'm going to go here and click create new library to create a brand new library, and I'm going to call it Prince. So we know that that's where his content is going to be like for his portfolio. Prince, I hope you don't mind for me creating a portfolio for you. I really hope that you will enjoy it. And I'm going to go ahead and click on create to start. Here we can start by adding, so we can collect the assets all in one place. And again, all we have to do is to drag and drop in order to bring them in. So we have our library, we have named it, and all we have to do is to head to our file. Here I've collected some of the beautiful pictures that Prince has created. So that's Prince. By the way, I found also, and I'm going to use one of his own portrait. I found this picture. I love the color palette. And I just wanted to use these photos for this project because they're really gorgeous. These colors are just so beautiful. And again, of course, you can use whatever, you know, it doesn't have to be a photo. You can use an artwork, you can use your design, whatever you want. I think, Laura, we were talking about your photography portfolio. Let me know if you're still in the chat. How did that go, if you find it useful? Marco is saying, I'm actually working on my portfolio and I'm using Illustrator. Now I'm thinking about using design. Yes, Marco, like, just keep watching today and tomorrow, because I'm not only, you know, today we're just navigating the basics of the structure. We have about 15 minutes together still, but there is so much more to do, and you know, I can't wait. Tomorrow we're really going to be focusing on the digital features. I can't wait. I'm going to give you a little taste hopefully today. But before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and select all the photos inside my file and just drag it inside InDesign, making sure that InDesign here, the InDesign gets active, so we can then drag it inside our library, and they will magically stay there, and they are completely independent from the asset of your machine. So if you access your with your Creative Cloud ID anywhere on the web, on the Creative Cloud app, or on InDesign, from any machine, you will be able to access these assets. And not only we will be able to go ahead and use any of our images inside, so just by simply clicking and dragging the image, just like so. These images are quite large, so you can also resize them, or actually let me work in a little bit clever way since I'm showing you here. If you select the image, it will actually load in a little preview thumbnail. And what we have to do here to make sure that it doesn't, go over the bleed of the page is to simply click and drag, and InDesign will automatically place the image within a bounding box that respects the proportion of the image. Another way of working with photo is to use our frame tool, our rectangular frame tool, that will allow us to create placeholder images by clicking and dragging, just like so. And then we can just simply drop the image inside our frame. As you can see, the image will be dropped in its original resolution and size, and to make sure that we fit it inside the frame, all you have to do is to select the image and use the shortcut Shift Option Command E. That will be Shift Alt Control E if you're working on a Windows machine, and by doing so it will automatically bring the photo back inside the frame. And then if you hover, and you have this little widget that allows you to select the photo instead of the frame. And I want to point out the difference here. So is the little orange color is the actual bounding box of the image, while the blue that we see here is the frame. So if we select the blue one, we will change the frame, and you will see that can crop the image. If we select the actual widget, and then we select and we change the image, we can actually resize the image within the box. And we can also pan, like literally I'm on a trackpad here, and use pretty much as if I'm zooming on a phone, in order to then resize it and move it around the frame. So you can also move the photo and just, you know, have a different cut of the image that you want to use. Perfect. So those are two different ways of adding your images. But before we keep going forward with the photos, I want to show you how to extract this gorgeous palette so we can start to create maybe some background and some colorful assets around our photos. And then tomorrow we can spend more time actually into bringing all the photos together, create a grid, and focusing more of the exporting the portfolio. So let's go ahead and click on the plus icon and let's focus on this brand new feature, which I was so happy, and a big shout out to Hep from the Capture team for adding this feature, which I absolutely adore, in order to create from image. If we go ahead and click on create from image, you will see that the capture or extract from image panel will pop up. And all we have to do here is to either drag and drop any of the file or simply click on the plus icon here in order to input any image or to import any image you want. So we can start from this gorgeous photo from Prince, and you will see that right away InDesign, or better, Capture service integrated within InDesign will capture and extract from the photos the colors. So imagine if you do not have a brand and you want to create something that is, you know, in tune with your images or with your project. You don't have to go and sample like you did in the past with the eyedropper tool and click once at a time at the color that you would like to use. All you got to do is to select the photo and boom, Capture does it for you. By the way, if you click on the capture icon here, you will have the chance to use your mobile with a QR code in order to download this wonderful app. The Capture app is available on the integrated services inside Photoshop and InDesign, but also is available for you to use on your phone. So you can literally take a photo of anything. Like, what if you like someone's outfit? You can just simply take a photo of them. Or if you like the way your friends are dressed and find the color really inspiring, or maybe the color of the sunset, a beautiful sunset when you're on your holidays, well, you can capture it and you can take and extract any color you want from there in order to then use them everywhere in your design. Because once we select the color that we like, and by the way, you can move these colors wherever you want. This eyedropper is super cool. It really allows you to really narrow down the selection of the color with this color picker. Let me see to show you how much this zoom feature will allow you to select the color within the image. And then by clicking on Save to CC Library, it will automatically update and save on the library that you just created and that is there for you. And you can do that as many times as you want. You can also change the settings from bright colors. So, you know, Capture will automatically change the color for you, but you can also select the one that you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a couple of colors. And if I want to go ahead and choose another photos, I can just simply do that and then add these other colors there. So I can sample different colors from our images that we can use inside our design, which I think is fantastic. And then you can go back and again and choose more colors if you like, which is super cool. Another cool thing that you can do here that we're going to be using today is shape. You can also create, that's an Illustrator file, that's an EPS file that will be ready to be rasterized and with shapes. If you haven't worked with shape before, that's super amazing. It just creates a vector right away there. We can also delete any areas of the image that we don't want. So, you know, if we want to delete all these little speckles there from the background, we can just simply delete it right there. You can change the side of your eraser. So you can also, you know, just click on these little details if you want, and then select Save to CC Libraries, and also these assets will be saved into the library. We're going to talk about type tomorrow, so I'm just going to go ahead and move forward. You can see that all our color palettes are there and also our capture shapes. Once you're done, click on close. You can keep playing with this as much as you want, and you will see that we have our capture shape and our color palette ready for us to be used. Fantastic. So it's time to start to implement these colors and to use it inside our layout. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the images for now. And then I'm going to leave the cover at last. I'm going to start by this first spread. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is to start by creating the frame. As I mentioned before, I'm going to go ahead and use the rectangular frame tool. And I'm really going to leverage the bounding box that we've created before in order to create an image that I know that is balanced between the pages. So as you can see, what I've done here, just simply click and drag in order to create a frame that sits on top of our guides. So I know that we have the same space sitting at the left and the right of the document. And then I'm going to select it and click and drag with the Option or Alt key in order to make sure that we create a copy of the same place it on the other side. So here we have two image placement, and all you have to do, as I said before, is to simply click and drag in order to position the image. Now make sure that you click inside your frame in order to place it there. So again, I'm going to do this for the first one and for the second one. Again, make sure that you go inside the frame and then click. Here it is. And if you have it looks like I've selected more than one image, you can also and always select the escape tool, and you will see that whatever is selected there goes away. Whatever is loaded goes away. So I'm going to also use the Shift Option Command E to bring these elements together. As you can see, what I've done is select them and then use the shortcut. You can use it on as many images as you want. So imagine you bring in many images at the same time that are way too bigger than your frame. You can resize them real quick. So I don't know if many of you have noticed, but the problem here, if we place the image so high, is that we hide our little portfolio title. Well, not a problem. We can reorganize that with layers. So I'm just going to go ahead and head back to my pages and then double click on my parent page. And now I'm going to go ahead and select the text, head to my layers, and I'm going to go ahead and click on the plus icon to create a new layer. Remember, every document starts with one layer that works as a container for your content, and you can add as many as you want in order to split the layer. The order of the layer inside the layers panel or the layer stack matters, because everything that is below will show below and everything that is on top will be forced on top. And that's what we're going to do with our text. I'm just going to move it from the layer 1 to the layer 2. Of course, remember to name your layer. So I'm going to call this layer content, and then I'm going to call the top red layer parent. So I know that whatever is on the parent page is going to sit on top of our content. And now if I head back to my pages and click, you will see that now we have the text on top of the photo. So we'll make sure that it doesn't get underneath. Fantastic. The things that I want to show you, we have 5 minutes. I just want to show you like a very quick interactive feature because I think that's super cool. I'm just going to add another image over here just so we have a little bit more of a view of what's going on. So I'm going to head back to my libraries and I'm going to choose this other wonderful photo, which I'm going to go ahead and place on this other page. And again, that's just a placeholder at the moment, just so we can identify the different pages from the preview real quick. So we have page number 2 that feature these two lovely photos, and page number 3 that has this other image here. I'm going to head back to my parents and I'm going to show you something real quick in just 3 minutes, hopefully. I'm going to keep my eyes peeled on the timer today. So again, double click on the parent page. And what I'm going to do here is to start to add an interactive elements. So I'm going to press the letter T to create a brand new text area. And here I'm going to use this little bracket, and then I'm just going to give it a larger size. I'm going to go ahead and give it a size of, let's see, 30 is probably big enough. And I'm going to use a font called Abril, which is available on fonts.adobe.com and also available here for you whenever you work on your properties panel. In order to select a character, you can always use the little search in order to search the font inside Adobe Font. So you can click on find more, and from here you can search, preview, and activate fonts live. But we can talk a little about fonts, as I say, tomorrow, and we're going to dive in a little bit more into the actual creation of the character style that we can use. But what I want to show you here is how to create a button that will allow us to navigate to next page. So at the moment, I'm just going to place this little arrow there. And we have 2 minutes. I don't know if we have time. I don't want to be cut out. I'm going to go ahead and click on buttons and form and select at a button here. And I'm going to call it next page. And from here, all you have to do is to select an action that will allow you to go to next page. So I'm going to go ahead and click on save and then select back our pages. You will see that the button is there with the EPUB interactivity preview. Click on play in order to preview your pages. As you will see, they will be loaded. The play button just loads them back in, and we will be able to go to our little button and click on it, and you will see that we can navigate the pages. So that's just a little preview. I just wanted to leave you with that. So tomorrow, hopefully you will join me back here and how to, well, we create more of these interactive documents. So today we set up the document. You can always go back and watch the replay of today. If you have missed it, don't worry, and then you can follow along tomorrow. Now, unfortunately, it's time to wrap up. I cannot believe our time went so fast. Stay tuned in for the XD Daily Creative Challenge with Brandon Gross, and tomorrow we start a day with a Creative Cloud Express with Cordy Thomas that I'm so excited to host. So I will see you tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. We'll be creating infographic, and unfortunately, it's time to say goodbye. I can't believe it that it's already time to say goodbye, but I'll hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me. Go and grab a glass of water and come back for the XD Creative Challenge. As usually, it's been a blast, and I hopefully see you tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.